Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray, brought to you proudly by Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency, Barton Power Sports, Sportsman's Warehouse, and Best Care Home Services.
Good morning, folks, and welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray with co-host myself, John Gordon, Ron Wong, producer extraordinaire Greg Ratliff, and the host with the most, Larry Ray.
Oh, he is doing good. He's gone from intrepid to host to the most. My voice might hang on now, and we just may have to bring John in permanently on that. Only Frank Barton we really allow to do that, but you have really stepped to the plate.
I stepped it up, I'm bringing my game.
Yeah, Frank does real. He's got a radio voice. I'm not saying anything about anything past that, but he does have a radio voice, and he's one of my favorite people. Hey, we got a gentleman on with us right now, native Memphian, and I'm really happy to have him on Outdoors with Larry Ray. You folks know that we keep up with DU a lot on this show over the 17 years we've been on the air. We've had so many of the good folks out there, and still one of my dear friends is Mike Checkett. He and his wife Ramsey just had another child. Keep it going, Mike. I think that's 5. 4 or 5 since he left here, but I miss Mike. But we got the man. He is the new DU Chief Marketing Officer, and that is Steve Pacheco. Good morning, Steve.
Hey, Larry, how are you? I'm
doing good. Now, you just sat and listened to the Alligator Man, so you have nothing else to add after that. We're going from alligators to ducks, okay?
I'm calling that segment Saturdays with Stumpy.
Saturdays with Stumpy.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. Well, let's talk a little, Steve. Thank you, first of all, for dropping by the studio and being here with us. Talk about your new position. And our listeners may want to know, now you spent a long time at FedEx. Before that, you were with the International Paper. How do you feel this role? Is this something that you really were looking forward to? And tell us how this all developed.
Yeah, it's first of all, Larry, thank you and the team for all your support of Ducks Unlimited throughout the years. We really do appreciate that. And it's one of those bright, shining beacons in Memphis that ought to get a little more coverage
it sure should.
Time. And
yes.
We're happy to see you all support it. So thank you a lot for that on behalf of all the Ducks folks. It's an exciting time to be at Ducks Unlimited. I'm really, really jazzed about being there and helping them tell some of their stories even better.
Yes.
You got to go back in the history books to really understand and appreciate Ducks Unlimited and all that they mean to so many people. Last week we were in Indianapolis for the 81st Annual National Convention.
Yes.
With almost 1,000 attendees, delegates, sponsors, supporters, you name it. Duck nuts everywhere.
Duck nuts.
In Indianapolis.
That's you, John.
Oh, that's me, all right.
That's you, John. All right.
And
goose nut, too.
Yeah.
It was just great to have everybody there under one roof and see everybody get so excited and passionate about Ducks Unlimited and what their mission is. And for me, being relatively new, to jump right into that, it gave me a full dose of the excitement, the enthusiasm level that folks have for this organization and all that it means.
Well, May 24th, you started, okay? I'll always remember the day you started. That's the day after my birthday, and I really, as old as I am, I celebrate birthdays for a long time, but you hit the ground running, didn't you?
Yeah, it's no rest for the weary. We jumped in. We've got a ton of work to do, and the summer's a busy time for Ducks Unlimited, as you know.
I know it, but I think people out there think you only do anything in duck season.
Yeah, no, there's no off season for Ducks Unlimited, and there's always something happening over there. We're rallying the troops now and getting everybody ready for the summer months where there's an awful lot of activity. The fundraising efforts go on 12 months out of the year, as you know.
They know how to throw a party.
And we we do. We're always planning the next one. If you think about it and take it in context, there's over 4,500 events in any calendar year.
I believe it.
That support the fundraising efforts of Ducks Unlimited. And
4,000 of them are right around here, it seems like. So, John, you know that.
I've been to a few.
You've been to a few,
haven't you?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you guys know how to raise money. I was really, because you brought in some things here that I was really, and I'd already looked it over and everything. The rescue our wetlands, I really wanted to touch on that because any organization out there that has a goal of raising $2 billion by 2019. Now, I almost said $1 million because that sounds like more reasonable. $2 billion. You guys, when you set your heights, you really go for it.
Well, and I can get behind something like that, Larry. That's awfully exciting. It is $2 billion with a B.
With a B.
It was a long range goal that the organization set, and that they've worked really, really hard towards attaining. The organization is well on track to deliver that by the end of 2019.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And you know from your history that anything that's got a goal set like that is really worth working forward.
Yeah.
Really gets the troops organized and focused on the right direction. And ultimately all of that money raised goes towards rescuing the wetlands and the core key mission of Ducks Unlimited, which is noble and good in all aspects.
It is, and again, we're talking to Steve Pacheco. He is the new DU Chief Marketing Officer. I've got to ask you, Steve, in your career, you've been involved with some pretty good heavyweights here. I mean, you've done some commercials beyond belief for the Super Bowl, NASCAR, all these different kind of things. Where do you see yourself fitting into this? What's going through your mind now as you take another step? And a lot of people would say, well, I done put in 30 years with whatever it is, with 20 years, whatever. You were with FedEx, you had your time. They might just want to say, I think I'll just quit and things. What's this challenge for you?
You know, that's a great question, Larry. And what motivates me is getting the opportunity to tell the stories better. And I think that there's so many worthwhile stories within Ducks Unlimited. My career's always been focused on that narrative and being able to break the complex down into a simple story well told.
Yes, simple story well told. I love that.
Within Ducks Unlimited, there's thousands of stories, and we're telling some of them really, really well. There's so much more that we can get out there into the public's eye and help them understand about the mission of the organization, about the volunteers and the dedication that they have. And just coming back from Indianapolis last week, I was so inspired. And
you were pumped up, right?
I've got notebooks full of great ideas, and you'll be seeing a lot of good things in the future coming out of Ducks Unlimited that help tell those stories even better.
Well, you know, I really love this because I don't know how many thousand people drive by on Walnut Grove and see that Ducks Unlimited flag.
That is worldwide.
I know it, and don't have a clue.
Absolutely.
Don't have a clue what's right over the hill. And I stress that on this show so much that there's so many stories to tell, and it is so important to be in. I was there, Steve, when they broke ground. Okay, I was there when they came from Chicago, and they all came in long overcoats down here and everything. And they said, "You're coming to Memphis," you know. And I think, despite all these years, there is still stories to tell that even the local people need to hear.
I just got one quick story about DU.
Well, you're standing up. You got to explore.
You know,
you're cutting into Steve's
they
time.
are a nonprofit organization.
Yeah.
The acceptable minimum acceptable rate in terms of operating efficiency for a nonprofit is 60%.
Yeah.
You're really pretty well off if you can make 70%.
But they make
Ducks Unlimited. 83% efficiency. It doesn't get any better, folks. Your money goes to an excellent cause.
So now you know why Ron was one of the first hires by Steve when he came here to take this job. Ron Wong is now, but he works for free over there. But no, you guys are in the party business. That's what everybody thinks. That's all you do is have parties, give away guns and things like that. But, John, from your standpoint, Steve's got a marketing job. What would you like for them to do?
Well, like he said, I mean, you know, there's a reason that I think they put the headquarters in Memphis. You know, I mean, we're really at the epicenter
in the middle
of the duck hunting culture is right here. Okay, and that's one reason why Every Outdoors was here. That's one reason that that Banded Brands is there in Arkansas. I mean, we can
name some other companies.
We're not going to.
We're not going to because
we're not going to. They're here as well. But we're not going to name those. But anyway, I just the mission that Ducks Unlimited has done, and they've done so much for duck hunting. I'm not sure without Ducks Unlimited if it's even a viable sport left anymore. Without those conservation efforts, I'm really not sure that the populations would even be anywhere you could hunt them anymore.
Well, I know the great Nash Buckingham, one of the original founders of DU. And one of my idols, the first outdoor editor of the Commercial Appeal. I was the fourth outdoor editor of the Commercial Appeal. After Nash
Was
Buckingham
that the
was
1800s?
first. Well, I don't care. You need to read his book. But, I mean, they got together, and as Steve has mentioned right here, DU was founded in 1937. That was before me. Okay, John?
Oh,
that was
really?
before.
Oh, okay.
That was before Larry. 35 years before the first Earth Day event.
Yeah, and the conservation efforts go back to the earliest days of DU's foundation. And
Yeah.
if you consider that literally 35 years before the first Earth
Earth
Day event
Day.
nationally,
Yeah.
Ducks Unlimited was already, in a very visionary way, paving that path and making sure that people concern themselves with conservation efforts. And they titled it Conservation for Generations. And it was a legacy play where they want to make sure that the conservation efforts of today take care of all the waterfowl and all the hunters and all the other needs for far into the future. And I think that's a great and noble effort, certainly.
And I know as we close with Steve here, volunteers are so important. You guys, I mean, they got a golf tournament going on this weekend. There's a lot of volunteers out there working for St. Jude in the heat that don't get paid anything. DU volunteers, or I don't care if you pay $20 to join or whatever it might be, your still roots is your volunteers.
Absolutely, and we couldn't run the organization without the dedication of those volunteers. We saw them in full force last week in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
We see them every week in every market doing great things for Ducks Unlimited. They've embraced the challenges that the organization has. They help us keep lean and keep most of that money focused to the right efforts.
Yes.
And through their efforts, we're able to do a lot of that. So it's easy enough for people to get involved. Ducks.org is the site for it.
Yes.
And you can find easy ways to sign up there. Also, members get our DU magazine. They get access
Wonderful
to the
magazine.
DU Films series.
Yeah.
All the DU annual reports. And I'm amazed by how transparent this organization is, how well they run the organization, and how very, very fervently dedicated everybody is within that organization. I'm proud to be a part of it. It's an exciting time to be there, and I think our better days are just ahead.
Well, we want to let you know that Outdoors with Larry Ray, as long as I'm still vertical, which some people think could be any time now, but I will be glad to, anytime you need any help, Steve, you let us know over here. You know where we are here, Intercom Radio. We'd be glad to help you. And, again, thank you for being part of today's show. Don't have to welcome you to Memphis because you're here, buddy, and we appreciate that. Let's take a break, come right back, and switch gears. It's time to talk professional bass fishing, and we'll let Ron Wong stay around for that. Be right back on Outdoors with Larry Ray.